jobs that I made a start on. So an emergency Christmas Advent parcel that was requested. And somebody just totally forgot to treat themselves. So I've got that, I would say, nearly half done. So I've been doing that this morning. But I've also had a lady that messaged me asking if I would help her processing card fleece, so she's letting me have half of it. So she's got bags of Ouessant that she sent me, and it's this dark brown Ouessant, and I think there's some lighter colours down the stairs as well. And she's got it from a hobby breeder, but she's a felter, and she was having problems. It's, as we all know, when we buy fleeces, it's a hit and a miss when we buy them from hobby breeders or from farmers, because of the grass and the straw that's in it, and it's an absolute nightmare. Now, from a spinner's point of view, you can take out as much of the fibre as you possibly can, fibre, the grass heads and the larger pieces that get stuck in it, but you'll always end up with these microfibre pieces. No matter how much you try and card it out, flick it out, it takes forever to do it. But as I say, from a spinner's point of view, I don't mind that so much, because as you're spinning it, those little grassy head bits either flick out of the fibre that you're working with, or they drop out as you're processing it. So there might be like 95% full of vegetable matter, but as a felter, again, you're working with it, so you are pulling it apart to a certain degree to felt with, so you can pick out those pieces. And it is a laborious job. It's a labour of love. You've got to appreciate it. And if you're doing this for yourself, that's fine. But if you're doing it for somebody else, they don't, unless they've tried themselves, they don't really understand the amount of work that goes into it. Not only do you have to wash it, which is about four. I usually do about 4 washes with my fleeces, depending on how greasy they are. But this one wasn't too bad. It's just had it's just got a lot of grass in it, and I don't even remember half as much grass being in this when I was washing it the other day. And I'm actually doing a video to upload, hopefully this afternoon. If not, it'll be tomorrow. I've just had so much to do this week, but I'll be filming carding this fibre. I'm just putting it through one more time because it's all starting to compact together now, and it's only about 70 grams on this bat, but now that it's getting firmer and all the fibres are all going the same way, it's actually starting to hold its own, and it's not leaving so much behind on the drum carder, on the back of the drum. Just spotted a piece of grass then, so I'm just trying to pick it out, and it literally is just picking it as you go along. It is time consuming. I mean, the other day, that I think it took me 2 days to get this dried, and I do mine in front of the and the fire in a pillowcase. I've got a wood burning coal stove, so at the side of my fire I've got the fire guard, and I'll wedge up my fleece in the pillowcase at the side of it, so it's not actually touching the fire. But to be fair, it's been so high, such a high wind, we've not had that much air coming through the flue, so it's not been the hottest of fires. It took me 2 days just to dry up 340 grams, no, 380 grams of fibre after washing it. It took me a morning to do, then say 2 days to get it dried, and this is me only just getting it processed now. So I've just split it up into 70-gram bundles. We've got 140 grams each off of this one. By the time all the fluff comes out and I've sat there and I've fluffed it away and everything else, it honestly, it really is a labour of love. It's not a job I look forward to doing. It's not it really isn't a favourite job. I really dread it when I know I've got to process a fleece, especially when I'm doing a breed study. I'm like, oh, I hope to goodness when there's things open that it's really nice to work with. So I tend to only stick with locks. So as I say, it's on its fourth card through, and that's the side that it came out. And I've explained this before. As you're putting the layers of fibre on, you can actually see, this is really, really dark, so you can't see it on this, but you will be able to see the lines of the fibres that you've put them in layers. But if it's that way, and that's the way I've pulled it off the drum carder, and then I turn it on its side, and I'll open up the fibres, and that just helps with the carding method itself, just going straight through and the fibres aligning. but it also, if you can open it up a bit more and have gaps through the fibres, potentially, fingers crossed, you'll get rid of a few more. I think I've managed to kick off about half a ton of grass heads onto the floor from this. But at the same time, because the fibres have now been opened, I can spot those larger ones and I can just pick at them, pull them out, sort of give it a bit of a shake, and sometimes they'll drop out onto the bottom of the drum carder. As I say, you've got to love the craft that goes into doing it. That's why I don't do a lot of fleeces, because it is gosh. If I'm doing it for a customer or someone's messaged me and asked me if I could help them out, then it's usually a trade-off, because I'm not going to charge them by the hour, because it just takes too long. It just isn't fair. Unless I was spinning it up for them as well, then obviously that'd be a different matter. But yeah, it's one of those projects that is so boring and mundane, and if I could take this down the stairs and just go and watch TV in front of the fire, I'd be quite happy. So I've got a couple of strips here, and then once I've done this, I'm just going to sit and spin it and see if anybody turns up. But watch out for the video of me prepping the other ones, and how I sort of go about to get started with it. The ones that can do it, well done to you. But I've never bought a carded bat from a fleece off of any supplier that I haven't spotted VM in it. And to say, unless you're doing it for yourself, you might as well just take your time. Do it as a summer project where you can go and sit outside and hand card flick, or get your heckles out, especially if it's longer fibres. I'm going to use the heckles on this, but the fibres are really, really short. I mean, to be fair, a Ouessant's only a tiny sheep, and you're looking at, it looks like the second cut's in split really easily. These sheep have obviously been loved, but the fleece hasn't been cut correctly. And I've just spilled a load of grass heads on the top of this. Oh, pain. And sometimes I just do that, and the ones that are loose on the top will flick off. So I've got two more of these pieces to go in. So I'm just going to split that in half, and I'm going to give that a little bounce in the air. And get that in there. So yeah, I've been making loads of rescue parcels up this last week. So you can actually find a video somewhere. Once this uploads tomorrow, I will post a link of me making a fluff rescue parcel last year. And they're brilliant. They're really great. But a gift for yourself, especially if you live on your own, or if your husband never seems to buy the presents that you ask for. I can always write a card that it's from him. And he'd be like, I don't remember buying you that. I do 250 grams, 150 grams or 250 grams. Let me know if you want a hanging pod, which might have one that's nearly done. Looks like this. This is one that's not quite finished yet. So a little hanging pod, and they're great because you can just hang them off the side of your drum carder when you're prepping away. You can hang them off a hook on your spinning wheel or on the side of your big loom, and especially if you're using ribbons and locks and things like that, or you want to use them to store your shuttles, like your smaller hand ones if you do small weaving, or even your bobbins that you need to replace. They're just really handy to have. I put all the fluff in here. This one's for 150 grams bags. The 250 grams a little bit bigger, or I can do your box bag. So yeah, and it comes with that amount of fibre, plus some extra little bits and pieces, sometimes useful, sometimes silly, could be extra locks in there as well. But it can consist of rovings, bats, mini bats, locks, ribbons, LED lights, all depends on what I've got hidden away in my stash. So I'm just going to finish this off, and then I'm going to sit and do a bit of spinning. See how this spins up would be nice. So I'll move these over, and we can have a natter, hopefully. Hopefully, I won't be sat here on my own. But I'll give it another 20 minutes. There we go. And just, oh, we've got some big bits in there. So what else have I been doing? I started knitting Billy's hat. I've been doing on Instagram. There's a thingy called, was it Get Your Wish Wish Yarn Granted or something like that on Instagram. So I've received a couple of knitting patterns, but I've just sent out 3 lovely big parcels, one over to the States and 2 to the UK, one to a fellow wool professional, and one to a teen who's just started. Her mum put the request in for her, so it's like I had to put an extra parcel on there so her mum could get something. Her mum doesn't know. So yeah, so that's what I've been doing this week, putting them together, putting together fluff rescue parcels for orders. And then, as I say, I've got this Christmas advent that I need to get sorted and squirreled away, which won't be the first time that someone's turned up nearly December looking for a Christmas advent. Oh, the jumper stuck. So I'm not going to really go anymore with this carding because, as I say, I've already run it through 4 times. I'm not going to get much more fibre out without me having to do it myself. What have I got? Yeah, I'm still getting dust and stones, but not as much, which means now that the fibre is getting compacted, it is really starting to stick in there. But there's definitely a reduced amount. I think most of it's on the floor. That's for definite. It's definitely on the floor. So I'm just going to peel this off and then stick my spinning wheel on. So yeah, that twisting thing, when I peel it off like this, that's, oh, I peel it off the drum carder, there's still fibres being stuck behind. I need to get my carder on there and pluck them up. So I don't want to be cleaning this forever. I should have got out my old carder and done this on, and that's usually what I would normally do, and not on this big one. It was just, I just got the urge to do it while I was in between other bits and pieces. Right, see, the card is all jam-packed with these tiny fibres. Yeah, it's not the best, but as I say, I'm not spinning it for anybody else, but just for my own curiosity to see how it spins up. Just tidy this down a bit so there's no bits and pieces lying around, and I'll just move you over. Plug in my little pedal. Go. Put all the cables over there, put that down there, and I'll give you a flip over so you can see what I'm up to. Hold on a minute. Oh, there we go. Light's a bit bright. Let me just turn that down a bit. Where is it? That one. Yeah, that's a bit better, it's a bit softer. Oh, yeah, weather's awful. Why's that wet? It feels damp. The weather's been absolutely atrocious. Get that in there. And my hook thing, pull that through, and then I'm just going to get me a little bundle of card. And you can see it's still got grassy fibres in there, but as I say, there's not half as much as what there was. And as I spin this, they'll flick out. It's not a massive problem. If I was using this for felting with, I would probably mostly use it for core wool, but that's personal preference. That's not to say that when you're taking pinches off and stuff like that, because you obviously, when you're winding up on, if you're using wire armatures on it, the fibres, the little VM bits, they'll all pop out as you're working with it anyway. So that's not to say that you can't do some decent projects with it. It's just annoying. They're just really annoying. So I'm just going to get this started, and it's very short fibres, so I'm just going to turn my wheel down a little because I'm not sure how it's going to spin straight off. I might want to go the opposite direction. There we go. Right, stop. Why won't you go? Let's just pull that. This is flipping this yarn. I'm going to have to change this yarn over. It doesn't stick in properly. Oh, there we go. Right, that should work now. Right, come on. It doesn't want to stick. The yarn is just too soft and it won't tighten up. Come on. I've lost me. All too tight now. I lost my balance. It's overspun. See if I can get that to go in. No, it still won't do it. There we go. Now it's going. That should hold its own now. Turn it down a little bit. There we go. Oh, come on. No, it just doesn't. No, it doesn't want to pull in today. Do you know those days you have when you just can't win, can you? Right, let me see. Try again. So I've got some overspun bits, so now I need to come back a bit and just get them to come out. There we go. Oh, bit thin. Turn it down a bit. Oh, see, because it's really short fibres, you really have to concentrate. I may end up, oh, see, lost it. It's very, very short fibres. Very short fibres. I may end up having to card it with a bit of Manx Lohan. I think might be my option to go with this. They've definitely, when this fleece has been cut, it's got second cuts in it. It's not perfect. Plus it's got grass in it. And as I say, this is the problem when you're buying fleeces online, because you can't actually go and inspect what it looks like until it turns up. And not a lot of farmers not realise that second cuts are not what we're looking for. I'm just going to turn that down a little bit, and hopefully, which way am I going? Right, try again here, get that in. Nope, have to start all over again. Got some Manx Lohan in the cupboard. I think I might have to blend this up with some Manx. I think that might. With the Manx Lohan, because the fibres in that is far too short. So I think I'll just do a quick, the mirror, the blinking lights in front of you. I think I'll do a quick blend of these fibres with the Manx. They're not the same colour, but they're both brown. Not Manx, Shetland Moorite. So I've got some Shetland Moorite here, and I think what I'm going to have to do is blend this up, so at least with the length of the Shetland in comparison to the Manx, there's going to be a bit more stability there for me to actually blend with it. So I'm going to, and it'll end up being a little bit like a humbuck. So I'm going to put this back on the, I'm going to put the Shetland Moorite on the carder, and then card through 4 sections, and I think that hopefully, how rude Nat West was butted. Nat West, what are you on about? Is that Bright West is getting closed down in time? Yeah, so I'm going to card off this fibre with the Shetland in between. It will create a slight struggling with a really short fibre. Now I've had Ouessant before, and it wasn't that short, so I would say that that fibre has been double cut, which is a little bit disheartening, but where there's a will, there's a way. You always find a way to sort these things out. So because I'm having to strip this again, I'm just going to open up these lengths, and then hopefully I can drop out a little bit more of these VM bits. And then when I spin it again in a second with the Shetland Moorite that's in there, I'll have a bit more length. There, it's very, very fusty. Really good lovely crimp in it, and it's seriously soft, but it's got no length to it. So just quickly get this done. Like that. Right through the middle of the layers that I've carded. Hopefully the longevity for me to spin with, and I think I might just take another pinch. Shetland Moorite. It's a lovely. I will snap off a bit more Shetland, open that up again, and this time get my my card flicker. I can't remember the word of it. Give a card flicker on it. Scardy move. I'm hoping box downstairs that she sent me. I thought she was only sending me 1 or 2 small fleeces, and she ended up sending me a box, a box filled of fleece to process. And I'm like, okay, that's not what I thought I was doing. I thought I was just seeing if I could do any better job, which I fucking well can't. But actually, no, I've definitely made it a lot cleaner than what it was. Oh dear. So yeah, do this. Nearly done, and then I can try again spinning it. Just open up these fibres. I'll point you down so you can see what I'm doing. So you can see what I had was that's the bit that I've took, and then I've turned it on its side and I've flipped it open in the middle of the layers that I've blended. So when I open it up, you end up with gaps through, and you can see the lines where the carded fibre is actually starting to form more structure, but because the fibres on this fleece are so short and double cut, it's just a bit more hard work. So this is the last piece of Shetland moire that I'm going to put on. Got any more of that? No, I've used all of that up. Okay. Temper down. Oh dear. Right, take that off. Right, so you can see there's the Shetland throughout, and it should spin up a bit more like a humbug. So that's it. And it's got a lot more structure to it, so fingers crossed this time I'll be able to spin it. Maybe it's the electric wheel. I have turned it right down. Up it. Right, have another try. That fibre, I'm going to literally undo that because this fibre is far too thin. That's so unpractical. It'd be different if you were using a drop spindle and it was that thin, but this is just stupidly thin. So I'll just loosen that off and try and take that out. These dogs are driving us potty today. Phil's out in the landing trying to decorate, and I've had to lock myself in here with these two lunatics. Oh, right, let's try again. There we go. Draft out a section, just plonk that on my knee, and hopefully this time I can get somewhere. Well, there we go. Yeah, you don't want to be spinning and it feel like a trouble, like a nuisance. You want to enjoy it. So if it means that you have to blend your fibre with another fibre, the ideal ones for those sort of things is like the short Haikuya alpaca. Definitely always spin that blended up with another wool. Something like a Shetland or a Cheviot, it helps bring that softness to those wools. Or a longer fibre like a Dorset, or even I'm not so much a Blue-Faced Leicester, maybe a Wensleydale, because the fibres are longer. But then, to be fair, Blue-Faced Leicester, though it's quite short-ish, yeah, it's usually about 5 to 6 centimetres in length once you pull out the spring on them, maybe even a little bit longer if you're lucky. But that sort of fibre, because it's got a really nice crimp to it, and alpaca doesn't have any crimp. It's a straight follicled fibre. So that's a bit, but that's nicer to spin. There's going to be lumps and bumps in it. It's going to end up spinning up more like a tweedy. But just having that little dash of Shetland moire in there has given it more strength to spin with, which I'm quite pleased with. There we go. Oh yeah, that definitely has a difference. A lot more enjoyable to spin with. You're getting the pops of the chocolate with the coffee colour. though you do go through sections where you've got the thin Ouessant fibre, and you know you need to make sure that you've got your twist in there, otherwise it will all go Pete Tong. There we go. So what time is it now? Half an hour. I've been on here half an hour, and to be fair, I totally forgot to put on that I was doing my live chat today, which everyone generally knows I do, but people were busy. It's come up to that time of year. Overtime's needed. Christmas presents to be bought. So what I'll do is I will end this chat here, and I will get the video for blending this up. I do have a little short video of how I prep my fibre before I wash it. And I will get that filmed and up on YouTube for this evening for you to sit and watch with a cup of coffee. Okay, so thanks very much for whoever managed to join me today, and then probably got kicked off. I've been kicked off. I definitely lost my signal, and I'm going to go off and see if I can make Phil and I some lunch, as he's been painting all morning. So if I don't see you later on, I shall see you on Saturday on Instagram live chat. Any comments or suggestions, leave them down below when this comes back on tomorrow. I very much appreciate any of the feedback that I get. There's a piece of grass there. I'm just going to flick that out. So I've spun all that already, and that's me only just starting to come across pieces of grass that haven't already fallen out. There we go. So I'm off. Thank you very much. I'll see you later. Bye.